Welcome to the Love Holistic Living podcast, your roadmap to heal and align mind, body, and soul and become intuitive through food, pleasure, and spirituality with your host and Italian friend, Sara. Ciao, friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to deep dive a little bit more into spirituality. One of my favorite topic and one of the most common questions I receive is, why do I keep attracting the same person under different forms, and or why is this keep happening to me? And maybe it's the same lesson, but it's kind of like similar, but obviously it's under different forms. So this is a topic that is so dear to me, that is in the spiritual realm, but it will allow you to get clear on how the universe is communicating and what is the universe trying to teach you. Because the more you understand the connection with yourself and with the universe, however you want to call it, the universe, the creator, God, or source, it's up to you. In spirituality, remember that we don't really label the creator, but it's okay to also be part of our religion. And remember that religion and spirituality are two different things. And we are open to different religions in spirituality because we see it at one vision, like one lane. At the end of the day, is building trust with an energy that is beyond your control, that it's the belief that there is a divine plan. And I tell people this: as long as you trust in something that is greater, not greater, but like bigger than you, then we are on the right path. Because I have worked also with people that didn't believe in anything, so which we would call them atheists. And it was hard to teach them the communication with the universe and the angels and source, because for them, it just wasn't real, right? And funny enough, this is a personal story and then we get into it. I was raised by atheist. So, as you know, I was born and raised in Italy. And my background in religion and spirituality is pretty interesting, because I was born in Italy, and as you know, all of them, I mean, the majority and all of my friends were Catholic. And we teach religion in school. They go, you go to church on Sunday, and there are summer camps that are directed by the church, things like that, right? So it's kind of like integrated in the lifestyle. Now, it's not as extreme or strict as it is in America, but it is part of the lifestyle. So my parents were baptized, and they did take part of the whole, church system, and they grew up like that. But then when they became parents, they made the decision to not baptize the three kids, so me and my brothers. So they gave me pretty much first choice. Like, they're like, well, we want you to believe what you're going to believe, whatever it is, like follow your path. We want you to decide at some point. But I would still go to church sometimes with my friends or with my uncles and aunts, because they were really Catholic. And then I was going on, different summer camps with the church. And I studied as a Catholic, but I didn't go to church with my family, and or I, didn't tell my friends. And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to deep dive a little bit deeper into spirituality, especially what is the universe trying to teach you. Now, I receive this question a lot of the times, because people ask me, why do I keep attracting the same person, but like under different forms? And we're going to give you some examples in this episode. Or why does this lesson keep happening to me? And I tell people that it's so important to discover who you are, to learn who you are, and to learn how the universe is communicating with you and to you, because otherwise, I mean, personally, I feel like you're just lost if you don't have that connection. And one of the most important thing that I keep repeating to clients and non-clients is, as long as you believe in something, then you're on the right path. Like, as long as you believe in a bigger energy above you, whether that's God, whether that's the universe, source, the creator, however you want to call it, then you're fine because the trust is there. Now, if you don't have the trust that there is something bigger than you, then that starts to, I wouldn't say become an issue, but definitely without trust, then you are highly skeptical. And to me, that's my personal view, is you're missing out on the magic of this world, of humanity. And I mean, here in this world, there's so much that we are experiencing. It's like a school that we come to learn certain lessons. And if you don't believe in, like, in the soul, if you don't believe that there is a soul, if you don't believe that it's part of a divine plan, then I personally believe that maybe you need a self-discovering journey, because your life, your view of life will transform after you start trusting a divine plan. And today we're going to deep dive into this topic, which is a big one, because I had a very personal experience with lessons that kept repeating until it became so strong that nearly killed me. And I'm going to start with my personal experience, and then we're going to go into different examples to help you understand how the universe communicates with you and what you can do to move forward. But the short story is that when I was in Italy, and actually before a certain age, like, since I came into this world as a soul, I learned at a very young age that I had this pattern, that I had this thing that kept repeating. I call it pattern, I call it cycle now. But to me at that time, I was 10 and I was like, this thing keeps happening. And then I was 15 and I was like, this thing keeps repeating. Why? And the thing, what I called it when I was younger, the cycle that I knew I had to break at a deeper level, was that I kept attracting emotionally abusive individuals. And I started my journey, my spiritual journey, very young. Like, I think I was 15 or 16 when I deep dive into past lives, soul contracts, into breaking toxic patterns and the universe. So at that young age, I was fully aware that I was in a huge toxic pattern, but not fully to understand how to change it. And I wish that I had found, like, the person I am today to teach me, but I didn't. I became this person. So now I hope that this will help you. But anyway, I kept attracting emotionally abusive individuals. And there was a specific one that was my neighbor. And he was 2 years older than me. And we met when I was 11 and he was 13. And anyway, he was my first encounter with the narcissist. I didn't know what a narcissist was. I was not educated. I was 11 and I fell in love, as an empath with the narcissist, to the point where obviously you know what happens with a narcissist: manipulation and breaking you down to the core and gaslighting and making you doubt your reality, your self-worth. And I was young at that time. I didn't know what to do. I also didn't speak about it enough because I thought it was kind of like normal to gain the attention from people that love me, to be like, hey, this is abusive, right? Nobody ever talked about that word, abusive. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the details, but fast forward, at 18 years old, I had enough of the toxic cycle. Okay. That kept going in circles. And he would come back, kind of made me spin. And I was like with open arms every time. Like, so in love that I was like, okay, like, I'll follow you, whatever you say. And then at 18, I was like, look, I need to find myself. This is super toxic and I need to go far away. I need to heal. And I, at the time, thought that by going across, the world in another country and creating physical distance, I thought that I would break a cycle. And that was my first big mistake. I didn't know at the time. I was 18. So I left and I was like, oh my God, I can breathe and I have zero contact with this person. So that was the last time at 18. Like, I still don't talk to this person, super, like, no contact. And I was like, I'm Elevate your wellness with the blue-green algae superfood. A big thank you to one of our favorite sponsor, Salus Health, which is the reason why I feel so vibrant and healthy with boundless energy today. This blue-green algae superfood is packed with nutrients and antioxidant, which has been a game changer for my well-being, and it will be for yours. It will help you boost your immunity, increase energy levels. It's a natural supplement for weight loss, enhance mental clarity, and it's rich in vitamins, minerals, essential amino acids, and superfood nourishes your body from the inside out. Don't forget to visit saluz.io, saluz.io. Again, saluz.io. And don't forget to use the code LOVEHOLISTIC to receive your initial 20% off your order and embrace the goodness, embrace life. Super happy, and I started my self-healing journey, and I realized what was kind of happening, not at the full spectrum, right? But I thought that I had break it. I was like, oh, I'm meeting some kind of lovely people, and I'm not meeting a lover who is toxic right now. But I kept attracting different like narcissists under different forms. Like maybe it wasn't a lover, but it was like what I call like another, like a manager or an assistant or even a guru. I met someone who is narcissistic, right? I didn't know fully the capacity of breaking a cycle. So I was like, okay, it's not a lover. It's not my neighbor. So I'm good. So fast forward 5 years later, I didn't know because I was like, well, I'm in America and I don't have contact. So that lesson is done. Well, guess what happened? I married a full blown narcissist that was worse than what I had experienced back in the days. Like this was 10 times worse, my experience. And what I said at the beginning, it nearly killed me. Why? Because in this narcissistic abusive experience, I lost myself more than I've ever lost myself in my entire life. And my physical body started to break down with chronic illnesses. That's when you soak. So just so you guys know, chronic illnesses are the disease of the soul. That's what happened. So my chronic illnesses started to show up. My body stopped responding. I felt like a 90-year-old in a 26-year-old body. I, at the time, had zero money, zero income. So financially, I was strained. Emotional and psychological abuse, where I looked at the mirror every day and I did not recognize my own reflection anymore. And when I look at pictures and when I show it to some of my dearest trusted friends, we have this talk and they're like, I don't know who you are. When I look at this picture, you're a completely different person. My whole body was different. My eyes were different. Like my body shaped in a different way because I was a different person and I was completely broken. So then fast forward, that was the cherry on top, right? I entered what I call the spiritual awakening phase, which, if you don't know this terminology, is the middle age crisis that people go through in their 40s and 50s. Well, I had it at 26 when my whole world fell apart. Every single day, there was something that at the time I thought it was taken from me, but the universe was protecting me. So obviously, everything started to crumble and getting this. I lost a whole community that right now I'm grateful that community fell apart because I realized they were not my true friends. So nobody reached out, when I made the decision to escape for the sake of my life and also to protect other, my dear little angels. And I lost everything. When you mean everything, it means everything. Now, through my self awakening discovery journey, my healing journey, there was a blessing, which was understanding the power of breaking cycles and what the universe was trying to teach me all along. And I had finally learned the lesson. Now, I went so deep into that lesson. I escaped it many times until, you're really hurting so hard that you promise yourself nobody will ever treat you like that ever again. So the bottom line of this story, and I hope that the empaths out there maybe can understand and can get inspired that you can fully heal and become who you're meant to become. The bottom line of this story, the moral of the story is that you can't escape lessons. You can't. No matter if you go across the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, into another country, you can't escape. So, what I left in Italy thinking like it's in Italy, I found it again under different forms. And funny enough, those two individuals had the same name. That's actually not a synchronicity I should have known, but at the time I was really young. So I'm hoping to help you realize that you can't escape lessons. What to do? You can have the same lessons at work, for example. You keep changing jobs, but you keep having the same boss or someone above you, whether that's a manager or a boss that is narcissistic or that treats you poorly. And you keep thinking, well, I just need a different job. I just need a different job. And wherever you go, there is that person. And you're like, oh my God, I keep getting treated the same way no matter where I go. I attract that lesson. Well, that's a lesson. The same exact thing. It's a cycle. So, how to bring it back into stepping into your power? You can't escape a lesson, but you can learn from the obstacles that you're facing. So, for example, if the lesson is to set boundaries, the universe will keep sending you people that will keep crossing your boundaries. And the narcissist is the perfect example because the narcissist will not accept anything that you say, no matter if you're like, well, I am not wanting to talk on the phone. He or she will call you all the time. Like, so the narcissist is the perfect example. If you need to learn patience, then the universe will keep sending you lessons that will trigger your calm, sweet nervous system, that will trigger you constantly to maybe like you live in the unknown and you get so impatient because you want to get to the destination or you want to know what's going to happen with the house and things keep happening and you don't know. Like months go by and you're like, I just want to know when this goes through. I just want to have an answer. The universe will keep testing you to trust and to be patient. I also have that lesson. Like patience is number 2 lesson for me. I'm such an impatient person. I want it now and I work really hard. And then sometimes it's out of my control. And the universe has tested me so many times, even with my firstborn, son. I was like, well, I want it now. It's the due date. And like going through the birthing process was such a lightning process because he came 11 days later and I needed to trust. I needed to let go of control. So the universe will keep testing you until you learn it. So ask yourself, what is that I need to learn right now? What is happening in my life right now with the people that I have right now that kind of like triggers me in a way that I know this is a cycle? And again, maybe it's boundaries. Maybe is asserting yourself, like your voice, and you need to stand up for yourself. Maybe is you need to stop disrespecting yourself. So you attract people that keep disrespecting you. And the lesson here is start respecting yourself enough so that you stand up for yourself, you voice your boundaries, and those people are going to go away. Maybe you have friends or community or people around you that keep criticize you. They criticize you constantly. And you have people around you that are like, oh, look at your belly, look at your hair, look at your lips, they're dry. So whatever you do, whatever you're wearing, whatever day it is, you keep receiving people that keep criticizing you. And I had that as well when I had like body dysmorphia and when I wasn't really self-confident about who I was and fully in my body. I had people that kept like criticizing every little thing about myself. When I started to shift internally, and I started doing the inner work and I started being really confident in my body and in myself. I swear, nobody's criticizing me anymore. Nobody is saying, hey, your hair looks dry or ugly today, or you're look bloated. Like that went away. So the lesson was to fully gain self love and self confidence. So this was just an awakening conversation, I hope, to help you understand that the universe is not against you. The universe is always trying to help you grow at a soul level. And you have lessons to learn in this lifetime. And how I view this is okay, I know that if I don't learn this in this lifetime, these lessons right here are going to follow me in my next life and maybe even certain people. And those are karmic connections, which we're going to talk about it in another episode. Now, I personally have the awareness and the choice that I made to not bring certain lessons into my next life. Like I don't want to deal with narcissists the same way I did deal with them in this lifetime. I want to break the emotional abuse that I came here to break, that it's also a generational pattern for me. So that's how I view it is what can I do now so that I do want to have an easier life. And I know people who don't have all of this. Like I look at them and I'm like, whoa, you probably have done a lot of work in your past life because they came here and they're like living this happy, like family life and they don't question themselves and they, have never had an abusive relationship. And I'm like, okay, I want to get to that point in my next life. So I hope that this was enlightening at the level. Make sure that you understand the key lessons that the universe keeps bringing you. And the faster you learn, the faster you'll grow, the faster you break cycles. And I would appreciate if you could leave your feedback if you enjoyed this episode. And don't forget to stay connected on all the other social media platform. And if you need a one-on-one attention and you have specific questions you want us to answer, then I'll place the link below to work with me. And a big ciao to everyone.